Are you ready? Let's go!
Don't you sometimes just want to talk about everything? You know, there's days when you can just talk about anything. Need to sit back and chat about nothing at all? Nothing But Julie, coming at you with fun and creative topics and interviews.
Did you hear Julie's podcast? She's got the greatest topics.
Come join the chat about everything, anything, and nothing. So unwind and tune in to Nothing But Julie. Great topics and cool interviews with some pretty awesome people. And now, without further delay, here's Nothing But Julie.
What is up? How is everybody? I hope you're all doing well. I hope you had a great weekend, if you can remember it. By the time we get to Wednesday, you're just looking forward to the following weekend. So I hope you've had a good week so far and are getting over the hump. Maybe by the time you listen to this, you have already gotten over the hump. So happy Wednesday and happy hump day. I am Julie Schrager, your host of Nothing But Julie. Welcome. So, hey guys, we've got a new president. How are you feeling? I know there's many of you that are not happy, and I also know there's many of you that are. But it is what it is right now, and we just all have to kind of move on and, you know, accept it, even if we are staunch Republicans. I just don't think that we need to, you know, be angry at everything that a president does because it's just affecting all of us. But then again, I get if you're passionate, you know, and you follow the politics and there's a lot of stuff out there that you don't like. I get it. But let's all try and stay focused and positive. So I want to get right into this. If you know me by now, you know that I am a TikTok addict. Well, I guess I shouldn't say addict because I never really listen or watch it during the day. But, and I think just like anybody else, once you get on, it's really hard to put it down. So what makes me use the word addict? Well, because I have to watch it at least every day, preferably at night, and I really look forward to the things I see. And what I've been seeing more of than normal is, you know, these TikTok users that actually have things that are like, let's say, things you need to buy on Amazon that you might never have known about, or things you didn't know that you could do with your iPhone, or just things you just didn't know about in general. And it got me thinking, like, how much more don't I know? Like, I know that the world is vast. I know the universe is even more vast. But what don't I know that I maybe should know? And it started me thinking, hey, maybe I should do a podcast about that. It might be a lot of fun researching all the different things I can go, what? I didn't know that. And so that's exactly what I did. So here we go. You ready? This podcast is going to make you say, what? I didn't know that. Such as, did you know that flamingos do not bend their legs at the knee? They bend their legs at the ankle. Now, I thought that was really weird because when you see, well, let's say pictures or videos of a flamingo, you can clearly see their knees are bent. But they don't. They bend their legs at the ankle, and they're like standing on their tippy toes. And apparently, what looks like a knee is not. The knees are closer to the body and covered by feathers. Right? So, next time you see a flamingo, the things that you see bending are not the knees. Those are the ankles. Okay, here's another thing. This kind of blew my mind, but there was a time where I loved going to amusement parks and, you know, places like Universal, Islands of Adventure. And as I got older, I started reacting poorly to certain rides that I just could no longer go on. And that's not such a bad thing, but this is something that I just read about roller coasters, that they were actually invented to distract us from not doing or doing something bad. So apparently, there was this man who thought that like Americans just were tempted by certain places. And so what did he do? He actually invented Coney Island in New York and, built the first roller coaster for New Yorkers, and felt that that was more clean fun. And why? Because many people back in the 1800s would indulge in things like saloons and brothels. And he figured, okay, how can we straighten this all out? You know, I don't want these people going to these immoral places anymore. So he decided to build this roller coaster. And guess what happened? Many of them started going to Coney Island and going on this roller coaster ride rather than going to these other, tempted, I can't even think of the word, places that tempted people. Isn't that cool? Anyway, that's just something, it's like a duh thing, but, so check this out. Things that make you go, ice pops were invented in the early 1900s by accident from a child, an 11-year-old boy. So apparently, he left some kind of soda powder outside overnight. And there was a wooden stirrer in the cup. And apparently it was wintertime and it froze. And this popsicle was born. And he wound up selling these treats, in his neighborhood and nearby amusement parks. And wound up getting it patented and changed the name to Popsicle, because that's what, the kids called the concoction. It was based off of a pop, like soda pop. So they called it Popsicle. Now imagine if this kid was on Shark Tank, the amount of money he would be making. Oh my God. Love it. Okay. This is kind of cool too, that and I love sloths. I don't know anyone who doesn't love a sloth. But did you know that they can actually hold their breath longer than some mammals, like dolphins? Yeah, they can actually hold their breath for up to, check this out, 40 minutes. Whereas dolphins have to come up for air like every 10 minutes. Now that's pretty cool. I'm going to just kind of go through these because there were just too many for me to not discuss. So I'm just going to roll them out. This one was really disappointing because I did not realize this. And I still don't want to believe it. That Fruit Loops, the cereal, they're all the same flavor. Yeah. Other than, I think, wild berry. But for the most part, it's all just food coloring, which I knew, but I thought that it all tasted different. I have got to now go buy a box, and test it out. Okay, and this really just upset me. That when you go to the supermarket, apples can be like a year old. So this is why I do organic now. I mean, it might be more expensive, but it's worth it. And I also know that after a certain period of time, like if I shop at Whole Foods, the food that they take off the shelf goes to a food pantry. And I like to support that versus places like, Publix, Walmart. They just throw all the old food out to the dump. And that's the end of that. But anyway, so apparently these apples are picked between August and November. And they cover this in wax and they dry it. They air dry it. And then it's sent into storage. And then about 6 or 12 months later, they end up in your supermarket. Ugh. See, again, that's why I like to get organic, because aside from pesticides and this news, I want to eat something that doesn't have any pesticides or waxy buildup on it. Imagine what that can do to your body. But anyway, Let's move on. Try humming while holding your nose. Try it. You can't do it. You literally can't do it. Yes, I just tested it, but I did test it the other day when I was doing research. So apparently the air, when you hum, escapes through your nose, which is what creates that nasally humming sound. But it can't do it when you're holding it closed. See, these are just things that like no one ever thinks about until I, master of the universe, brings it to the forefront. To you. You're welcome. Moving on. I think this is something I might have heard years ago, that octopuses have more than one heart. They actually have like three, and squids as well. And one of the hearts pumps blood to the entire system, and I think the other two are just dedicated to the gills. That's pretty cool. Pretty cool. Not so much about this. Do you know that people used to say prunes instead of cheese when having their picture taken? Why? Okay. Apparently back in the mid 1800s, apparently it was too childish to say cheese, according to a London photographer. So they said, say prunes. This way it would keep their mouths taut. Okay. Anyway. Did you know in the Philippines that McDonald's will give you spaghetti? It comes with like a meat sauce and like a piece of fried chicken. Do you ever think about that? That there are certain countries that give different food other than what they have here in America? See, I thought that it was across the board the same stuff. This is pretty cool. All right, moving on. I'm not going to read that one. Okay, you ready? This is bizarre that lobsters actually can taste with their feet. Apparently, these lobsters have these pincers that are inside, that have tiny bristles inside of them, which apparently is like a human's taste buds. Isn't that weird? This is what's even more weird, that their teeth are in one of their 3 stomachs. So it's weird enough that they have 3 stomachs, but they have teeth inside their stomach. That's pretty disgusting when you think about that. Moving on. I used to love Three Musketeers candy bars until I grew up and realized that they were really bad for you. But check this out. Do you know that it was back in the 1930s when these candy bars came in 3 packs? And each one had a different flavor. One was vanilla, one was chocolate, one was strawberry. But apparently because of World War II, the rations made that pretty expensive. So the company cut down to just one, which was just the vanilla nougat. Okay. Did you know? Because I am a New Yorker and I swear to God I did not know this. The Empire State Building has its own zip code. 10118. Oh my God. Oh my God. This is blowing me away. Yes, I did some research, but I didn't read every single thing. And this is one of the things I didn't read. So I am literally blown away. It's like DC. You know, like DC has its own kind of national area. And it's District of Columbia. It's got its own zip code. Pretty cool. Okay, moving on. Did you know that there was a war that only lasted about 38 minutes, which was back in the late 1800s? So apparently, the Sultan of British protected Zanzibar, he died. And when a new one took over reign, he did so without the approval of the British. And they were not very happy. And then the Sultan just would not step down. But the the British ships, they spent maybe less than 40 minutes bombarding his palace, and he then fled. And that is basically the end of the Anglo-Zanzibar War. Less than 40 minutes. A little bit of trivia there. Okay. I love whales, especially blue whales. Did you know that they have these massive tongues that can actually weigh as much as one elephant? Now, their hearts can weigh almost a ton. But it only needs to beat once every 10 seconds. This is so cool. That is so cool. I mean, I don't know. And also, did you know that there's this waterfall in Denmark that is underwater, like under the ocean? It's apparently in Denmark at the Denmark Strait. And there's cold water that comes from the Nordic Sea, which is denser than the Erminger Sea, which has warm water, which makes it like drop almost 2 miles down. Almost 2 miles down. That's like 123 million cubic feet per second. Can you imagine? That's very, very cool. Okay. Moving on. I'm only going to read you a few more of these because there's other things I want to talk about, like my Amazon picks. Did you know that Earth, atmosphere, kind of, just moves throughout the atmosphere, like scatters more sunlight. And so, you have one area of the Earth that's also got shadows where they're not very dark. But on the moon, these shadows can be so dark that apparently Neil Armstrong said that he could not see where he was going because the shadows were darker on the moon. It's kind of cool. Okay, let's just see. There is this man. Did you ever know that there was actually one person that invented the URL setup? His name is Tim Berners-Lee, and he actually created the software of the web and actually regrets one thing, which was adding the 2 / after HTTPS in a web address. He said that it was, and I'm quoting this, it was standard for programming, but didn't serve any real purpose. And when looking back in 2009, he said leaving it out would have saved time and space. Wow. Huh. It's like if you think about certain things, like I remember watching Cocktail with Tom Cruise, right? And I remember that he wanted to be an entrepreneur, own a bar, and I remember he was dating this girl or woman at the tropical location. I don't remember where it was. And he said, that a person actually invented these tiny umbrellas that you put in your cocktail? Yeah. And who knows? He's making $1 million. There are millionaires sitting around your entire table. Like, who invented the napkin holder? Right? I mean, simple things. Who invented the fork? Who invented the spoon? Who invented the knife? Okay. This is actually really important to know that one sneeze can actually travel 100 miles an hour and shoots minimum of 100,000 germs into the air. That's crazy. I know that throughout COVID, we've seen a lot of videos or even some kind of a simulation with regard to how far sneezes travel. But I did not know that it was 100 miles an hour. It's crazy. All right, so check this out. When you are born, well, let me say this. By the time you're an adult, you have about 5 quarts of blood. But when you're born, you are just born with a pint of blood. Think about that. A pint is such a little amount. I go through a pint of Ben & Jerry's once a week, and that's how much a newborn is born with. That is crazy. Now, this is another thing that, I'll just say it. We, humans, our body has enough fat to make at least 6 bars of soap. Ugh. I'm assuming that is with not an overweight person. I don't know if they're considering someone overweight or of a size comparable to their frame. I don't I don't even know. And I've seen this many times before where parents start giving their little babies swimming lessons, and I never could wrap my brain around that. And then I read this, that newborn babies, that they can't actually drown because their windpipes, when they're submerged, their windpipes close. But that is a reflex. It doesn't stay with them. It kind of disappears at 6 months of age. Do not test it. But I don't even understand what's the point of doing that for newborn babies. I mean, I understand also because, when they are being created in the womb, they are submerged in a sac and they're breathing in liquid. So I can understand that. That makes a little bit of sense. Okay. Golf is the only sport that was played in outer space, on the moon. Back in 1971, an astronaut actually hit some golf balls on the moon with a golf club. Did you even know this? I wonder what that must have been like. It's kind of cool. All right. Dolphins actually call one another by name. These things just fascinate me. They really, really do. And did you know this? This is really peculiar. That grizzly bears mate with polar bears in the Arctic. Are you ready for the name? The babies are called, the offspring are called Pisley. Pisley for polar bear and grizzly. So, blue whales. Oh no, I already said this. I wanted to say that otters. Did you know that they actually will hold hands when they sleep so they don't drift apart in the sea? Oh. Okay. This is something that I did not know, which doesn't make sense, but apparently whoever started saying okay, that it actually came from a misspelling of a phrase, all correct. Now, I don't know how that happened, but I don't know. How do most things happen? Okay, dentures. Ugh. Do you know that they once were actually made out of human or animal teeth? Obviously, this was a while ago, but imagine having somebody else's teeth in your mouth. I can't. I absolutely cannot. Now, this is a drink that I really do love to get. I love a good Bloody Mary. But did you know that it is possibly named after the Queen Mary of England, who she had so many people burned at the stake. So it was named after her, Bloody Mary. Maybe I'll start drinking a different drink. Pacific Ocean is larger than all land masses on our Earth put together. Okay, do you guys remember Pez candies? I mean, they still have them around. I used to love Pez candies. You know that they were invented to help people stop smoking cigarettes? The originals were actually shaped similar to a cigarette lighter to help people stop smoking. That's pretty ingenious if you think about it. If I had to stop smoking, I would definitely love to have some candy. Can you imagine? I mean, and one bad habit start another one. And beer was actually classified as a soft drink in Russia up until 2011. 2011. So for the last 10 years, it's only been legally classified as a soft drink in Russia. How is beer classified as a soft drink when it has alcohol in it? That I don't understand. This is something that doesn't make sense to me, that toilet seats are cleaner than your own cell phone. And the reason why is because when you flush the toilet with your urine or your feces in there, fragments of that water comes out and can spray up to at least 10 feet, can get on your walls and your toilet seat. And they're saying that that's actually cleaner than your phone. I don't understand that. Tsunamis, they actually can move at a speed of over 500 miles per hour. Wow. That is crazy. All right. So now that I read this to you, I would like to give you a list of my favorite Amazon products. Now, I have been in major organization mode prior to COVID and during, and I have found some really cool gadgets and gizmos, because I love gadgets, of things that I've acquired. Okay. And things that I've learned about using. Like, for example, instead of taking the colander to drain things, put it in the sink, and then take your pot, turn it upside down, then put everything into the colander and let it drain. The best thing that you should do is actually take the colander, put it inside the pot, and then turn it upside down. And this way, all of the liquid comes out, holding all the stuff that you don't want to come out. Simple things like that. And that's kind of cool, don't you think? All right. This is something that I definitely would recommend, okay? I have a Cuisinart and knives. So I would always either have my food, my onions, my garlic diced and chopped, and I would put that either in the Cuisinart or do it myself. I bought this chopper. Oh, it is by far the best thing that I have gotten myself. You can take like a half of an onion and put it on this grater, and then it immediately chops all of it. Okay, now I am not paid or getting endorsed for any of this. This is just me sharing valuable information, such as a vegetable chopper. No, but listen, let me tell you, this one is by Full Star. Now, you don't have to get this one by Full Star because there are others that are just as good. But this vegetable chopper, oh my God, I absolutely love it. If you look it up on Amazon, well, let me just tell you what it does. Okay, so it's got these blades that are interchangeable. You take one out, you can put another one in, and each one is a different size, letting you either chop or slice or even julienne. And it's pretty big. It holds quite a lot, and it's like a 7-piece set. And so you attach this block to the inside top of the chopper. And then the bottom of the chopper is where you put the actual chopper size. So like, let's say you want to dice. Well, then you would put in a bigger one or a smaller one. And you literally just push down on the top. You take like a half an onion, push down on the top after putting the onion in, and it literally pushes through the chopper and grates everything for you. It's also BPA free. I look for that all the time, which is basically where liquids will not the plastic will not seep into the product. Like, let's say there's some onion juice or onions. The plastic is BPA free, so therefore that chemical will not go into your food. All right, so that's one of the things that I bought, and I'm telling you, it saved me so much time. I am very bad at chopping onions because I just tear up no matter what. This, it's like one and done. You slice it in half, push it down, you're finished. Okay, moving on. Another thing that I love that I purchased are these magnetic phone car mounts, and there are a few different kinds. One is where you can put it in your air vent, and it's a magnet. And so it holds your phone, and it holds your phone. But I didn't really love the air vent because it took over one of my vents. So they actually make one where you can use, sticky tape, and you can put it anywhere in your car, not just your vent, but a flat surface. You can put it by your dash, whatever. And then you can put your phone on that too. This was a no-brainer for me. There are so many types of phone holders, such as like a cup holder, cell phone holder, that I got my husband and broke and, unreliable. This, I am telling you, I thought was great. And it also swivels, so it allows it to kind of, turn every which way. So that is something that I really liked. All right. Another thing that I purchased was, and soon enough this will be happening to you guys in the Northeast. I bought this Scotchgard. It's a water and sun shield, and basically what it does is, it gets so hot here in Florida, and we just purchased new furniture that came with new pillows, throw pillows, cushions, whatever. And so I bought this Scotchgard stuff months ago for a water repellent because it rains a lot in Florida, and I just wanted it to repel water so I didn't get a lot of mold. Unbeknownst to me, there was, by the same manufacturer, Scotchgard, they made a separate one which was water and sun shield. So I started noticing that this new umbrella that we got, outdoor umbrella, it's red, it's like a deep burgundy, and it started fading in certain areas. I immediately purchased this on Amazon and sprayed it. So it not only continues to repel water, but it also prevents fading. So for those of you that might be getting new furniture or are starting to maybe see a little bit of fading or just want to prevent all of that, it's Scotchgard. Let me get the full name. Scotchgard Water and Sun Shield. So it not only repels water, but it also prevents fading. So it's pretty cool. Anyway, okay, another thing that I purchased because I was doing a lot of cooking were 100% organic bamboo cooking utensils. Now, I've had bamboo in the past, and I've had wooden spoons, but my wooden spoons always tended to get moldy, no matter how much I dry them. I did not like that the bamboo utensils I bought several years ago looked like they were coated with something. So I was in search of something that was bamboo, maybe non-stick, that did not have a coating. And I found these wonderful Jilla HLA wooden spoons for cooking. It's like an 8-piece set. It's organic bamboo. There is nothing on it as far as a coating or a spray, and it is every shape and size that I need. Now, I also have silicone utensils for certain things that I don't want to scratch. And so I love this. I think that it was like $15 on Amazon. Another thing that you guys might be interested in as well is, just because of COVID and just building up your immune system, I always take, and my husband and son always take, what's called Sambuca. And maybe you've heard of it. It's basically black elderberry extract in a syrup form. This one that I've purchased, I got on Amazon, but you can also get on the app iHerb. IHERB. And it's basically something that really supports your immune system. Black elderberry is something that you can take every day. And it's by Nature's Answer. And it's organic. It doesn't have a lot of crap in it. It basically just mostly has the black elderberry in it. There are definitely some other ingredients in it, but just simple, like 3 other ingredients, including, purified water. But that's really it. It's as organic as I can get. Not crazy expensive, and definitely worth it if you want to really build up your immune system. Okay. Something else that I got was actually for all of my pots, and it was basically, for my cabinets in my kitchen. It's a kitchen cabinet like pot and pan organizer, like a rack holder. Unfortunately, I did not love it for my pots, so I used it for all of my cutting boards and my lids for my bowls, my glass bowls that I bake with or I cook with. And I'm telling you, it was the best thing to do. You can have it upright, you can have it vertical, or you can have it horizontal. I use it horizontally, and it fits my cheese board, my cutting boards, and a bunch of other lids that I have for various bowls. If you're really into organizing, this was definitely, something that helped me with my organizing. Now, let me see what else that I really liked. Oh, well, I reorganized my spice jar, my spice drawer, and I bought all these little spice jars with pre-made labels. And I also purchased like a like a spice liner. You basically, there's so many different ones, but you can cut these. They're for your drawer, and they're a liner, and you can cut it to the dimensions of your drawer, and you put your spices on this, and it's just a great way to kind of organize everything. But the spice jars are great. Now I have spice jars that all look the same with different labels on it, and I, believe it or not, put it in alphabetical order just for me because I use spices all the time. This way it's so much easier for me to grab and prettier. So that is what I did with that. Other things that I did purchase, one thing I think I might have mentioned before, I did get an Instant Pot. It speaks for itself. It is like a 5-in-1 cooking machine. And I would highly recommend getting this if you cook often. Another thing I would recommend to you are Ball mason jars. I make overnight oats, and I can give you recipes if you need them. And these overnight oats are put in these jars, and I usually tell my husband or my son to give it 2 days. So I always have an ample supply. And it's the best thing that you could do because you could heat it up in the microwave because it's glass. You can keep it vacuum shut for a few days. You can just take it out, mix it up, and eat it from there. So, and it's a great way to also store things like I have my own spice rubs for my ribs, things like that. Or you can use it as a glass to, drink out of. Okay, moving on. I know that you all know that I do have 2 mini schnauzers, and they have long, not very long muzzles, but it's long enough to where when they eat, their muzzles get dirty and their beards. My dog's breeder recommended these grooming wipes, which are called Pogi, P-O-G-I. They are Pogi grooming wipes, and they come in either unscented or green tea leaf. And oh my God, I mean, you might say, oh, why don't you just use a paper towel? Because you know what? I use so many paper towels on them. It's such a waste. Well, aren't you wasting? Now, these are also biodegradable, I believe. But they're earth-friendly, hypoallergenic, and they're bamboo-based. And this is what I use to kind of wipe them down after they've eaten, or if they're a little muddy and I want to wipe their paws. I am telling you, it's probably the best thing to get. All right. Also, those of you who do wash your cars, okay, did you ever hear of Chemical Guys? So Chemical Guys is probably the number one, if not the best company to buy your car wash stuff from. Actually, if you go on to Amazon, you can go to the Chemical Guys store. And they have all different kinds of things like microfiber wipes to wipe your car down. They have a soap dispenser. But the one thing that I love the most is their, their their shampoo. Is that what I would call it? I don't even know. But it's like a foaming car wash. And if you have the unit, you can put the soap inside this unit and then you attach your hose to it and then you can just spray it on your car. So now your car is getting wet and foamy. My son loves this stuff. He bought a gallon of it recently and he bought Honeydew and it's called Snow Foam. It lasts such a long time and the car comes out amazing and it is safe for wax and sealant. I just love this. Anyway, it's just a great thing, to know because he knows so much, my son, about this stuff. So, and I really don't. Also, you don't have to always get the manufacturer's brand for certain things. For example, I had to order a refrigerator filter, but I wasn't about to drop $60 on a filter when I could get something exactly the same that's universal. And so I actually bought by Water Drop at like a fraction of the price. I bought a refrigerator water filter and it works just as well as, the one that I would buy that was, from the manufacturer. All right. There's a few other things that I did want to tell you about that you probably didn't know that I don't believe I've purchased yet, but they look really, really good. All right. These are some things that I actually found to be pretty cool. Oh, wait, I wanted to just mention one other thing. I wanted to tell you what's in my cart because these are things I want to order. There are these LED lights. They're like light strips and you can put them, let's say, under your cabinets in your kitchen. It's like a roll of teeny little LED lights. And the ones that I have in my cart are dimmable. And you can wave your hand. It's hand motion activated, which is really cool. Or there's a button where you can leave it on permanently. And it's a strip. And you can cut the strip. And then continue if you have like an L-shaped, cabinet feature. It's so cool, and it gives it a really pretty look as well. And what I love is that it's dimmable, so you can adjust the brightness, and it's so easy to install. And it's just something fun that you can have under your lights. Okay, so that's one thing that's in my cart. What else do I have? Excuse me. Okay, for you men out there is something called Super Fresh Man Parts Deodorant Lotion from the Sweat Block store. Again, I am not being paid for any of this. So these are the things that I have either used or want to use and got amazing reviews. And, this is for men. It prevents sweaty man parts and it does not have any talc and it does not have any parabens and it's aluminum free. So all good ingredients in there as well. You might want to try that out. There's something else that I find really, really cool. When it comes to garlic, okay, sometimes I really hate chopping it up. And it's not something that I can put in that new chopper because it's a little too small. So I am going to be getting something called a rolling garlic chopper. It's also a garlic press, a mincer, a grinder, a crusher, a cutter, a grater, and you literally put your garlic clove inside of this thing. And it has wheels, 2 wheels, and you move it back and forth with your hand, and it either minces it or does this or does that, whatever you set it to. It's not that I'm being lazy. It's just sometimes when I cook, I have a lot of ingredients, and why not make it easy on me, man? Why not? Okay, what else? Okay, there's definitely something on this list that I would tell you to get, but I'm going to move on from this. Oh, actually, there is one more thing. There is something called, and it's $99. It is a home touchless stationary vacuum. You basically take a broom meant only for indoors, right? You take the broom, you sweep up all this shit, and then you direct it towards this stationary vacuum, and it sucks all of that stuff in. So you don't have to use a vacuum. You can actually just sweep stuff into one pile near the vacuum or just move the vacuum. It's kind of lightweight and it does have a cord, but it's bagless and it automatically senses this stuff that you're about to put in there. I am telling you, some of these inventions are really pretty freaking cool. All right, so let me just mention a few other things. Excuse me. All right. There are these towels. It's a bath towel, and it actually exfoliates you. It's pretty long, so it makes it easy to kind of scrub and reach places like, the middle of your back. That is pretty clever. Something else that I did recently that I found off of Pinterest was I had a garbage can in my laundry cabinet, my lower laundry cabinet, and I don't know why, but it would always get full. Nobody would empty it, and everyone in my home would complain about it. So I created a much smaller lint garbage can, and it is on my wall in my laundry room, and whenever you take the lint out of your dryer, you just go to the right. It looks like an old mailbox. You lift up the metal top flap and you put it in. And I even wrote lint in case my guys have a difficult time knowing what it is. Okay, what else is on here that I love? I know that there's a bunch of things that, I've got to tell you, Amazon, in as much as I do miss shopping, God, Amazon has such hard to find things. There's something on there that my husband loves, which is like a scalp massager. And there's a few of them, but I recently got a new one that, oh my God, you can literally fall asleep from it. Okay. If you use bobby pins, which I do, I am always losing them. And there is a holder. It's a magnetic holder because the bobby pins are made of metal. And it's something where you can literally just drop it and it catches it. And you don't have to worry about losing them anymore. It's very strong that you can literally like throw a bobby pin at it and it'll catch it. That's pretty cool. All right. What else is here? I think there was one more thing that I wanted. There's actually pizza scissors. Instead of using like the roller, these are so cool. You can actually cut your pizza. Okay, hold on, let me try and find, okay, it's called Dream Farm Skizza Scissors. Well, they're kind of expensive, but still perfect to use instead of a roller if you really want to. Okay, and then I think that there was just one more, which is something that you probably all know about that I absolutely love and need here in Florida that I have had for a few years, which is an inverted umbrella. Basically, you use it like a regular umbrella, but let's say you're getting in your car and you know how you have to shut the umbrella and it's really hard and then you get soaking wet. Well, this one doesn't close down. It closes up. So you get in your car, you now go to shut your umbrella, you push it up, and it closes. And not only that, but when you put it in your car, you don't get soaking wet because all the water from the umbrella is retained inside. Okay, guys, come on. You have to admit that's pretty cool. Well, anyway, this was fun. I hope that you like this. I know that there are so many gadgets out there that I still don't know about, and I do find a lot of this online and on TikTok. And some of them can be more expensive than others, but I have to tell you, for the most part, the ones that I have purchased, I have consistently used. There are definitely a few things that I've purchased that I probably would not recommend, but for the most part, the majority of them really have worked out and helped me, not only organizationally, but when it comes to efficiency. So anyway, hey guys, listen, if you need to touch base with me or if you just want to see what I'm up to, my social media platforms, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all under the name of Nothing But Julie. And of course, my podcast is Nothing But Julie. You could hear me on any and all podcast platforms, and also check out my blog. I just started it a short while ago. There's not a lot on there yet, but for the small amount, I hope that you will enjoy it. And it's nothingbutjulie.wordpress.com. And please feel free to subscribe to my podcast and leave me a review. Happy Wednesday. Hope you enjoy your weekend.